No.
All right. Hello and welcome to tonight's meeting of the Hand-Eye Supply Curiosity Club. We're your hosts this evening. I'm Tobias Berblinger and this is Will Lacoma. Together we have a number of curious and exciting topics to share with you.
As attendees of the Hand-Eye Supply Curiosity Club, you are all now members as long as you adhere to our philosophy. Ex Curiositas Scientia. We pledge to learn without prejudice in pursuit of our mutual goal, perpetual noviceship. We admit that it is impossible to know everything about anything, and thus we remain perpetually curious and perpetually novice.
This is our flag and our mascot, Franklin. The lightning bolt represents the receipt of knowledge, the enlightenment of illumination, the resonance of truths understood. It awakens and excites us and makes us hungry for more. And now let's give a warm Curiosity Club welcome to Britt, Howard, and Rosemary Robinson.
That was the best. You have to do that. Ever.
Stay in between this, so we're on the video.
Right on that part. Hello, welcome. Thank you so much for coming. I'm Britt, and this is Rosemary.
Hello.
We're kind of like fly by the seat of our pants type of people, so we have a kind of a outline of what we're going to talk about, but it's not. So we're shooting from the hip, so you guys can like ask questions in the middle or whatever. We're really freedom. So we're going to give a brief history of Portland Garment Factory, just in case some of you out there don't know what exactly we do. Portland Garment Factory was started by myself in 2008 in a very small shop, which was about a little smaller than this room. And out of probably a need or a thirst, like kind of what Curiosity Club is all about, same idea of wanting to learn something for myself, apply what I know to my own projects, and help other people. And it rapidly grew into this thing that is now a 5,000 square foot warehouse. We've had up to 12 employees. We have about 8 right now. So grew really fast, and obviously there was a need for like what we were setting out to do, which is really awesome. But it was totally helped by the partnering with Rosemary. So Rosemary came to PGF when we were still in the little room, and it was just me and a couple contract sewers, like kind of making patterns and prototypes and helping people through design issues that had to do with sewn products, and doing small runs, and just getting our feet wet in all directions, including like deciding how much to charge for things and seeing what works and what doesn't, and what our machines can do and things like that. Rose came in as a customer, kind of like inquiry, and then we quickly like hit it off, and you could tell the story about that.
I used to work as a production cutter in San Francisco for a designer called Lemon Twist, and all of our production was in San Francisco, so I would help with like patterns and cutting and samples, and then we would have like local seamstresses work from home on production. So I was like ready to leave San Francisco and move to Portland, and then I heard about Britt and was going to start my own collection, so I came in and I guess just like I told you my life story or something, and then you're like, I know this is really weird, but you can work here.
I was just like, you're a cutter. Oh my God, I'm so backed up in cutting, because I was such a control freak. I feel like I was like overseeing the cutting and trying to have people help, but really just doing it myself. And we were working on these recycled rain jacket, recycled plastic fabric. It was soft on one side and kind of like a fabric, like a shell on the other, for Emily Katz, who's like a local designer. We were doing a run for her, and there were these crazy rain jackets that had like, patch pockets that had to be gathered. And I mean, I have dreams about those jackets still, because it was like the first kind of like really high fashion, really technical construction thing that we took on. And I know I'm totally like gung ho for anything. So I'm like, we can do this. And then so I got into it, and it went really well. We were late. It was like super late. Like I was probably like 3 weeks later than I told her I would be. But I worked really hard to get those jackets done by myself, and it's just like that was the first big order that was like made me be like, oh, this is what you're doing. This is what your business does. I didn't know that it would be like this. So I knew I had all these cutting And so Rose came and was like, I'm a cutter. And I was like, okay, would you work for me? Is that weird that I'm asking you? Would you work for me? I know you want to be a customer, but I don't care. You just moved here. You need a job, right? And she's like, yeah. And then she was just like, I need a studio, so I'll trade you because I'm making my sister's wedding dress. And I need a studio, so let's trade. And I was like, perfect. And then
So then a month later, I was watching her nurse her baby on the phone and sew all at the same time. And she would put her baby to sleep in the bin of fabric that was like right next to the sewing machine, and she would sleep in there for like 3 hours or something. It was crazy.
Good baby.
So then I was just like, this is such an amazing idea, but because it's totally taking it to the whole another level of what we were doing in San Francisco, which is like using sewers from their homes, which is totally a thing. But this was kind of like trying to bring it up a little bit from that and not be such a LA factory where the owner doesn't speak English and stuff like that. So it's kind of like the middle ground of that.
Yeah, being a liaison between the people who are really good at their craft, who don't have like the technology, like the websites, they don't know how to and
so then a month went by and then we became business partners. We didn't even know each other. It was awesome. And
so crazy.
And then fast forward to our second shop, which was a storefront. So we sold what we made sometimes in our friends' stuff, and we sold those shirts.
We sold those shirts and dresses that she's wearing.
So cute. It's bringing back memories. So good she's wearing that. And then we had a small factory in the back, and we slowly would get like rolls and rolls of fabric delivered. So we would like scoop the shop up, and it became like this thing that was like only this big, and no one would buy anything.
Stuff. It's like you could walk in and be like, "There's some jewelry. We're working. We can't talk to you."
So one time we got a whole was it like 7 pallets of fabric delivered? And the guy was like, "So where is your forklift?"
Or like he was like, "Where's your loading dock? The loading dock? Do you guys have a loading dock?" He came to the front, and we were like, "What?" And then. So then we had to close. It's going to sleep.
And we were all wearing heels, and we had like a bunch of interns wearing heels. So we were like, oh no, we just unloaded fabric ourselves. And he was just like so confused. So we literally unloaded 7 pallets of fabric into our shop, which took up the entire thing. So we got a huge order with like overnight. So then we gave our landlord 30 days notice, even though we weren't out of our lease, and
got pods, because we had to keep working. We couldn't like stop the contracts we were already in, so we got a pod. This is taking way longer than we said it was going to.
I'm like, make the history really brief.
And then, but this is the pinnacle. Like, it's like getting the pods, putting all, you know what I'm talking about, like those things that people get when they're moving, putting all the fabric in there, and then they had like little doors, and you could go in and like find the fabric you were looking for. There was no inventory, no way of knowing what you'd use.
Crazy.
It was so nuts. And then we found a shop to move into, which is owned by those Portland store fixture ladies that we were talking about. And we kind of it's where the FOCO gallery is now. And we were going to move there, and then our sewers were like, no, we don't take the bus. Like, they all live out in outer southeast, and most of them are Vietnamese, and they either walk to work or they don't drive because their English skill, like their reading skills aren't up to like snuff for like taking the test, and it's like really pretty complicated with them, and so we were like, okay, well, we can't move out of this neighborhood, so we have to stay out here. So this is like kind of an older crew. We have a big swing in our shop. You can see my daughter. So we decided to stay in Southeast Portland, and then magically found a shop across the street from our other shop that was completely perfect, vacant, beautifully cleaned up, and the landlord was like, yes. We had a customer that was placing a big order. We used that money, moved in, like, bootstrapping, along the way, totally screwing people over. Just kidding. Like being late on orders because we're trying to like hustle all the time.
But we weren't that late because we moved. We walked our everything over.
I just remember that like there was those snowboard base layers we were supposed to do, and then I was like, totally, we can do those. Just kidding, we're moving. Like overnight, like you don't remember that probably, but I'm just saying that we did.
I blocked that. No, but we were working on Friday in our old shop, and we were working on Monday in our new shop, which is insane.
We moved over the weekend, and we got this dolly.
So this is our new shop. It's kind of dark.
That garage door, and then like that street is just our old shop is right there, so we just rolled everything over.
We've only almost been in this location for 2 years.
In October. Or something.
Yeah.
So these are some pictures of the shop. And now we're going to formally talk about the topic, the title, which is Journey Through American Domestic Manufacturing, right? At Portland Garment Factory.
Yes, something like that.
So we have lots of different services that have evolved over the years. Our main base services that we provide to local designers and, well, I'll get to that in a second, are pattern making. We do prototyping, samples, small run and large run production, and well, we do grading. We grade patterns. So we're full service. We do sourcing, and we'll get into all of these things. So we have two main types of clients. One is like the independent designer, who is maybe someone who lives in town and they have been doing things on their own, or maybe using the help of another small contractor, but they want to take it to the next level or whatever. And they come to us like saying, I need, I want like whatever, however many dresses made. Our minimum used to be like, we barely had a minimum. We would just make anything to really help people. Like that's what we that's what we want to do, is help small designers like grow their business. It didn't end up being completely viable for our business, and now we understand why other factories have like higher minimums, because we lost so much money just trying to get efficient on making 20 of something. So now when people come in and they want to make 20 of something, we give them advice, and we try to help them as much as we can, but we don't really take orders for small runs, or if we do, we charge a lot more than we would if we made 150. So our minimum is more like 150 now. So we work with people like that, or maybe they make their own patterns and we just cut for them, and then they sew it, and they just need production cutting, because we can cut like really through a lot of layers, and we can cut quickly and efficiently. So we're open to helping people. Then we have another type of customer who's more like a design entrepreneur or something. It's like someone who is coming up with an idea for the first time, and it's something like, is this the time to get out samples? I feel like it is.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is like, you can take it around if you want. This is like a prototype that we're still in the middle of making.
Clean.
Our
pattern maker won't touch anything unless we tell her that it's clean. So
yeah.
This is clean.
It smells like laundry too.
So this is a prototype for an undergarment that you wear when you ride horses, which is like a bike short, but it's for cutting horses. So it's like this really specific type of horse riding, and
you use your sit bones to tell the horse what to do. So you're moving your butt,
and you like isolate a cow, a sheep, a cow.
Yeah, you're isolating a calf away from
the rest of the herd or whatever.
Yeah, and it's almost like bull riding, or what is that like? Rodeo, that's the word I was looking for. But it's really, really upper echelon, like the richest of the rich people do it. Horses cost like $25,000. It's like this super weird thing I'd never heard of until we met this lady, and it's like
watched a YouTube video.
Yeah,
it's really crazy. Google it, cutting horses. So funny.
The lady is so cool. She's so down to earth, and she owns a ranch with her family, and she has wanted to do this because I guess people get really they actually have like calluses the way you have them on your feet, on your butt from this cutter's butt, yeah. So this is an example of a development thing that we've probably made 11 prototypes. She changes her mind a lot. She'll go out riding, and then now we're finally at the very end stages. We've done the sourcing. We met with her today. We've graded her patterns and made samples in every size for her to try on people, and we're kind of at that tier. And then she worked with us and our team to do all of her branding and marketing strategy, and like her text for her website and stuff like that. So we offer that like to certain people. Not everyone wants it or can afford it or like feels that they need it, but she doesn't have any design background, so we work with a group of people who help us do that. And so those are the two types of customers, independent designer types. Some of them are selling way more than just like an indie designer where they're just selling at like 3 stores. Some people are in like 70 stores nationwide, and maybe some in Asia, and they're still doing their production in the United States. And most of our primary customers are people like that. Or probably 50% of our customers, right, or 60% are out of state.
Yeah.
Or at least out of Portland. So a lot of people.
The third type.
I know, yeah.
This person.
Yeah.
Well, so here's another example of like the indie designer person, I guess. This is really hilarious. It's like a hippie shirt.
That's the back.
It says Moonchild on the front. I really actually like this.
I
graphic
actually
a lot.
like that print a lot. Yeah, so this line is called Sugar High Love Stoned. There's lots of like nipples in their branding and like lots of like peyote smoking and like it's really like their branding is really edgy, really extremely edgy.
She gets banned from Facebook like every time she puts a photo.
Yeah. But the girl who runs the company is awesome. And her first email to me was like in our super busiest season, and it was so sweet and funny. And at the end, it was like XOXO Tammy, like ride hard or whatever. And I was like, "You're my people. I will email you back." But
she has a really awesome.
Yeah,
like,
and she's just a really cool girl. So we do all of
So we do
their-
her entire collection,
Yeah.
which is like probably 15 pieces a season or something.
Sugar High Love Stoned. I guess somebody was love stoned, and her business partner already had a business called Sugar High, and so when they met, they combined forces, and it's fun. And maybe she made that up. She's good at making up stories, but
The moves collided.
but so we've facilitated the printing and the design, and kind of like she'll take like a rock T-shirt and be like, I want it to be like this, and then we have to figure out how to do what looks like was bought at a garage sale-ish in mass production, because she has about 15 different styles and is maybe doing a couple hundred of each. And then some she only gets like orders for, like she makes a fringe leather vest, and that she only gets orders for like 10. So they're really expensive. So we kind of like do everything. But yeah, and then I guess a third customer is.
And this is a women's uniform for a restaurant in Seattle called Canless. And that's just like Japanese inspired. And all of the
Mandarin
ladies
collar.
wear these. They're like, pick out funny lining.
It's a super. Yeah.
Asian inspired lining.
There's like a little pocket in here for your ticket book and a pencil holder, and when you go to this restaurant, it's super fancy, and everyone stands like really fancy, and the soup is $22.
And they treat us like total shit until we tell them like, yeah, I made that jacket. Well, my ladies made that jacket you're wearing, and then they're like, oh.
They're so nice to us after that.
And then they like, give us free
French
French fries.
But the owners are the best.
So like your truffle fries, their $17 truffle fries will be free. Like, hey.
Yeah, it's a good restaurant.
So
They've
we'll do
been
stuff
around
like
since
this for
the 50s.
corporate, kind of like corporate uniform type things.
And we work for other companies like that are trying to have a quicker turnaround. Like even Nike will be like, we need to develop this style, but we don't want to wait for it to come back and forth from the factory. So we want to do it in quick. So my head designer's coming to your shop to do this, and we're going to do it over 1 week. And we've made like crazy Nike turnarounds, and like 1 week we'll do like 10 samples, and we're all working late, and it's totally crazy. But we've done stuff like that, and you get into those deadlines, and it's somehow you talk yourself into thinking that it's worth it, even though you don't really. I still don't know if it is, but
You're working late. The lights on.
that's a good picture.
I just like this photo. It's really dark though. Those are like our machine setup. Patterns.
So Rose, you're supposed to talk about pattern making.
Okay. We do all of our patterns by hand, which up until now we felt like is the best way for us. Now we're kind of like at our maximum of being able to handle doing everything by hand. So we're gonna get digitizing equipment and everything really soon, but we like being able to like see the pattern piece and visualize what that means, and we're both really good at like being like, that's not right. Like we need to change the angle of that armhole or whatever.
Yeah, computer just seems like more pumping it out. It seems less craftsman or design friendly. It seems less hands-on, because it is. I mean, I guess you're using your hands, and your brain, but it's just different. There's a lot of like stock, like things you can pull from to like create a style, like a library of like silhouettes. Whereas when you're working from a block, you're using a block is just like body measurements that are made into like slopers. And we didn't bring any patterns. That's weird, but and so this is way more hands-on, and it's really true to the old school way. And we're trying to like, I'm like, I really want to keep doing that. But
I think we'll always keep doing up until like the production cycle. by hand.
But we make markers by hand right now, which is unheard of and also like probably stupid for like business sense. Like we're wasting time. But we do
But
it.
also it's the best way, because we have a lot of interns too, so it's the best way for you to visualize all of the things that you want to think about when you're a business owner. Like, well, if I make this skirt 1 inch smaller, I can fit the sleeve upside down right here, which means that I'll save 32 cents or whatever. So when you're making 1,000 of those, that's
But
kind of a
we're
lot.
thinking of that for our customers, saving them money on their fabric, which is really like partially their job, and we're wasting our own time doing it and not charging them very much because they want us to charge them the same amount that you would charge if you printed a marker out of a plotter. So it's like, it's just been a conundrum, and we probably have been losing money on it, but it's just
But
part
also,
of,
it's
like,
the best.
growing.
It's just like fighting in front of you. Also, we're both in favor of doing it by hand, but we're like our money side says not to. But
It's
also,
like
it's the
angel
best
level.
way to, like, the cutter would never know that that he's not cutting the other side of the sleeve or whatever, unless he's the one that literally traces the sleeve this way and then traces the sleeve this way. So if the printer was going to print another page or something and it didn't, and it like stopped because it ran out of ink or whatever, and then he cut the entire production and the fabric's gone, and the customer can't get the fabric anymore, so then we cut the whole thing and it only has one sleeve. So then
That's happened. I mean, not exactly that, but that kind of stuff happens. And then
so
it's
that's
just,
why I think that
you're like,
we all
TikTok?
have our own checklists in our brain of like, okay, flip the sleeve and then do all these things. But if you're a computer, you can't like really double check it unless you're actually going to double check it, and then you should just do it yourself. So, sorry, I went on a rant. Okay, this is like sampling and fit sessions.
So that's our old pattern maker David in those two pictures, and oh, I miss
This is
that
our
guy.
new pattern maker.
He moved away, and then our new lead pattern maker is Jermaine, and she's in the up there picture. So this is a company you may have heard of before. They're called Oddball, and they're shoe company here in town, and they make really big shoes, and they stock really big shoes like size 16 to 26. So they make like their shoes are like can be that big. I'm not kidding. It's like that. Look, you can do it to your own foot. It's like double your own foot. So we're developing a
T-shirt,
yeah.
a clothing line for them, and we started with T-shirts. I'm like, big T-shirts, no big deal. Who doesn't know how to do that? And
Everybody.
literally, this is
Nobody
like
does.
this number, like I don't even know.
We've been doing this for 2
29 or
years.
something. Like
Over 2 years we've been working with that.
because nothing fits tall guys apparently. So this is like their brainchild, which they like talk about 1/8 of an inch of this little sleeve cap
Yeah.
measurement.
They're
But-
really chim. That's Chinese for picky.
So this is probably, I don't know, 4 extra large tall. So we'll have like blazers in our shop and like be doing fit sessions
Why do
on
you
them.
put tags in these?
I just found these.
Oh,
standing
XL.
out.
This is not
Is
an
it-
XL.
XL?
And they just
No.
don't have bigger tags than that. Another factory maybe. So basically they are, we are developing everything and their grade rule and their fit. We do the fit session with like all these famous Channing Frye and like all these blazer dudes, and they're all taking their shirts off in our shop, and it's really awkward because all of our sewers are like so pious, like very good, that I think they feel like they can't look, and it's really awkward, but also funny because they're like this big. We feel, me and Rose feel tall as in normal world, but around them we feel like dainty little girls. Anyway,
You see
yeah,
how
they're really,
giant they are
really,
right
really
there.
tall, and they're brothers, so they own the company. They're really loudmouth jerks, but if they were here, they would be like
Yeah.
about that. And they're great. We've been working with them for a long time, and so that's an example of like a really obviously close relationship we have with them, and a long fit sessions galore. This is David measuring out a girl. She's to become a medium-sized fit model for a bridal wear company that we have developed her entire line of bridal wear, which we had a fit session. Well, I guess that was a different bridal company today, but bridal wear is another thing that we do, and it's very, it's like the spectrum, like t-shirts to bridal wear, but our main sample sewers are versed very well in tailoring and etc., which maybe we can talk about. I don't know what thing to push though, this?
I'm supposed to push them.
Well, okay, time.
So this is an example of like a thing that we would have in a fit session.
Yeah,
We
so-
just call it a muslin.
So this is the first round. It's like not completely finished. It's just a fit. So then you can see like, if you can see where it was like pinched out on the back, that's what that's called, where it's like pinned. And this is something, right here I think, something that felt one.
So we put this on the person.
He's really small. The fit model for this guy, he's like smaller than me.
And then we did a fit session on this. And then it
Helped him source the fabric. Come on. Pull the inside. You went to the trade show with him, she goes to the textile trade show, so Rose does most of the sourcing. You should talk about that now.
Okay, well, this is the finished product.
Yeah, we can send this around if you don't have oily hands. Sorry to say that, but it's true. The inside of the jacket's really beautiful and hand stitched. So, so this is custom, like to him, but he's a small size fit model. And then we graded it and made a large now, and he's going to sell these in his shop. He has a store called Reveille. It's on Northwest 23rd. Yeah, really nice stuff in there. And so it's like got the traditional collar, and so that he'll have so this is an example of someone who has like one of every size hanging in their store, and you can try it on for fit. And then what we would do is have our own copy of every size at the shop, and then the person would come to us and get tailored, kind of the way they do it at Dutch's, I guess. If you guys know about Dutch's, they don't make their suits in the United States. And also, this is very like specific. He's not going to have like a bunch of different styles you can choose from. It's going to be like, this is it, and these are the fabric choices, and that's it. If you want to look at this after too, like maybe we should see that. But Rose, you should talk to this about the
Cutting.
You should talk about the textiles.
I used to be the cutter. That was crazy. I wore that mesh glove so that I wouldn't cut my hand off.
Wow, is that chainmail?
Yeah.
Wicked.
So this is like a 12-inch blade, and
What's scary about it actually though is that my great aunt used to have a hat factory in LA, and so we got like a lot of our machines from her because they don't really do it anymore. And I got I think I got one of our cutters from her, right? Or no, our drill hole marker. And that one of the mesh gloves, and it has like the thumb is cut off of the chain.
then it was put back on with other
With
chains.
wire.
You could see that
That would
someone
not be
sewed
easy.
it back on with wire, like they cut through it.
Which is really
And our
creepy.
pattern, our cutter now, he's 60 years old. He's been cutting since he was 20. 40 years of cutting. This man is like, he's like our grandpa, and we love him. And he can do no wrong. Basically, he can show up for work or not show up, and we don't care. I mean, he does that too, because all of our people are like, we're super close with them.
This is Vietnamese Chinese New Year party.
Yeah, and he's actually cut his finger before.
How many fingers does he have?
Well, he has all his fingers, but one of them is like smaller.
No, it just
It has a weird spot, or it's like his thumb is weird or something.
yeah.
I don't like look at it a lot or talk to him about it, but it's because he was wearing his wedding ring and it got hooked on something, and then so now he always takes his rings off. But he's not married anymore, but he still wears rings. And I'm just like, Vicente, just don't wear rings so you don't ever forget. But he's like very religious about it. Takes off the ring.
Scary. So we can cut up to like thousands of units at a time. Well, if the units were small. So this can go. You can layer the fabric that high, which is.
We made like an 80-layer layup the other day that was like this thick.
And it was like 800 pieces.
In
So-
the total, not layup.
It's basically like a table saw on wheels.
Yeah, it has little wheels, and then
So
that's
this
kind
is-
of what it looks like at the end.
This is probably like 30 layers. Something
In
like
real
that.
life, that's such cool fabric. It's mesh, hot neon pink mesh.
So sourcing. I put this photo in here. We were so crazy that day. We go to LA because now we source all of our fabrics for people because people would not bring us the right thing or not know where to get it. And I was kind of focused on sustainable textiles in college. So this was something that I was like totally comfortable trying to wrap my head around. It actually started with Deschutes Brewery. We had to like make stuff for them, and obviously they're not going to find what they need, so I had to do it for them, and it was actually really fun. So
You're right, it did. I never remembered that.
So it turned into this thing. So now we go to LA twice a year for our clients looking for specific things, and we go to like the textiles show, which we're about to go to in October, and we source everything from like that pad in those horse shorts, like it had to be wicking, and they couldn't be too thick because then the horse wouldn't feel you underneath them.
Antimicrobial.
Yeah, like antibacterial and whatever. So we have to find like,
And a certain of thickness. Yeah, like 8 inch thick or whatever.
yeah, tons of different
Printed,
weird
like
things.
people want like grippy elastic or like printed, like those things that are in women's wear that are like to hang your clothes up. They're like the little loops that are sewn right there that have the name of the company. We have to get printed on that really small. And snaps, colored snap heads, right?
For the ace,
You know,
I had to show them like probably 45 different metal colors for the snaps that we're making for these suit covers that were for the New York Ace, and they literally chose between 50 different snap finishes. Drives me crazy.
They are very picky, the Ace Hotel.
But it looked really good at the end, which is why I will show them 50 snap.
Right, well, we love working with them, but they are just like,
It's crazy.
we have like levels of pickiness in the shop, and we know how to say picky in all the languages we speak, so that we can explain to the customer or to the sewer, like in a really serious, like this person's really picky, because you could say that about every job, like they're really picky, okay? So, but it's like, no, I'm not kidding you, and then you say it in their language, if you're like, gai or whatever.
But that Sugar High customer, she doesn't care what we do, so everything can be all threads hanging off. And
she grinds some of her stuff at the end. You know, she has a grinder. She makes it look golden. Well, I know they do that to denim in LA, and
yeah, it's
you
crazy.
know,
So this is us totally like hadn't had food or water for multiple hours in LA.
And the owner of that store gave us granola bars.
No, it wasn't. It was Fritos.
Right.
It was chili cheese Fritos. I ate the whole bag. I was so excited.
You're right.
We also had to go to Starbucks that day. That was rude.
We are not in Portland. This is our shop, and this is like represents one of the sections where we keep.
So this is
one of our
one
clients.
customer.
This is
How
like
much
all
fabric?
our fabric at the beginning of the season, and now there's like just rolls right here because we've cut and sewn everything. But it was like it gets so smashed, and then there's fabric all over the floor. So we kind of have like a
That turned into like how many garments? Like 2,500.
yeah. But so we have like this issue at the shop right now where we.
Oh my God, you can see it in this photo. This is totally like bent in half right there. That was terrible.
Where we like, do you charge the customer to keep the fabric there? Like, do you for materials, and when they have overflow of materials, and we are responsible for them not getting dirty or gross or whatever, but we don't have any room for them. Then we have to buy a new shelf. Those shelves are $800. Do we buy a new one, or do you know? Like we always have these conundrums. We're constantly like finessing our business plans and being like, oh, now we charge for this. We didn't before. And so a lot of customers come to us at the beginning, maybe not really understanding how new we are to the American manufacturing. And then over the last, I think we've got it dialed now, but like I think for the last couple of years, people who are still our customers now that started with us then have had to go through lots of us explaining like, this is how we do it now, and we learned this, and they've been really cool about it. But this is it looks like such a setup photo.
It was.
But it wasn't. She was really quality controlling. He just had really good lights, and some guy came and took pictures and gave us some of these. There's a website called Cold Splinters that is like, has anybody heard of it? It's really cool. Yeah, it's I love it. And the guy who runs that website or blog or whatever it is, came up with this idea to make these shorts. They're like throwback hiking shorts. And so we did small runs for him in New York, shipped them over to him, and then he never really reordered. But I think it was like a one-time thing.
Like Boy Scout shorts?
Yeah, they're really cool. They have like those big patch pockets.
You guys
and he
would
does
like 'em.
navy. Yeah, you guys would have carried them. Yeah, I think he's probably sold out. But
He sold out like right
or
away.
he sold them at Woodland, or what is that store called? Or
Yeah, Woodlands.
Yeah, Woodlands. He sold them there.
This is the spreader, so that like rolls back and forth and spreads the fabric as many layers as we need. Whoa. This is so hard to read when you're up here, but this was kind of like walking through the development process, which could take from like 2 months if it was something like one item. Maybe
No, it
that's
takes like a year at least to develop something. I mean, 2 months if it was like the Gators or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess.
Well, up to like,
Or if it's our line, because we have our own line of women's wear, which we developed a year ago, and I'm wearing. I'm off. It's because what I was wearing was not appropriate, so I was like, I gotta change. And this is another house line thing, but we'll talk about house line in a little while. But
should I read this out loud?
no, I think it's just like to show the trajectory of like how we had to make this for ourselves so that we would have a way of explaining it. So, like,
Or people say everything's easy.
I want you to make this thing. It's really easy, and
It's
I
like
just
those
say right there.
horse riding shorts. It's like it's so easy. All it is a bike short with less padding, but things are turned to the side. And this is like softer, so you don't have muffin
But
top.
she didn't
And
know
this
that
is
when she
slippery.
came to us. She didn't know that. All she said was,
It's easy.
it's like, I mean, they always say it's easy, but they don't even know what it is yet because they haven't even fully
crazy.
realized the design yet. And I always stop them and say, let's be real here. Like, let me tell you something. I know you know a lot about what you're doing, but I'm telling you nothing is easy. And we don't say things are easy in my shop. We just don't. And it's a good way to like bring people down to the ground real quick because people will think, oh, Rose and Britt are so friendly, they're so nice, they'll do anything and it'll be free. You know, like they do. I mean, like most people will wrangle you into doing things, try to do things for free, and we just can't roll like that anymore. We won't be in business, and we really want to keep doing this, like really bad. And I think we should have made those Olympic uniforms for the, you know,
Hell yeah.
you know, like we can do that. That's what we're good at. We could do it for a price that is, you know, they probably paid the price we would have charged them because that's just what happens with Ralph Lauren. And, but that's a different subject. But I guess what I'm saying is everyone thinks things are easy. And so we have made that trajectory for him to kind of be like, it was for us. You made it that morning before we had to explain to a really big company who owns like 7 grocery stores what we were about to do for them and why we were going to charge so much money. And yeah, it worked. I mean, not really, but they're still whatever, wading in the water. But it's not about the price. It's just working with big places. You have to go through all those like bureaucratic channels, and getting invoiced, like getting paid from Wyden and Kennedy takes like forever.
Yeah.
Unless you're like, hey, from the very beginning, we're a really small company. We don't do net 15. Like we do pay up front. So if you want to work with us, that's what you have to do. Get me a check today, or I can't work with you. And they're like, okay, no problem. So
Make it work.
because otherwise they'll pay you like net 30 or net 90, which is 90 days, which is what Adidas does. And you guys probably know this because you're probably, a lot of you either work for a company I just said, or or you work with them or whatever. But and we get it, we understand. I mean, we wish we could do that with our paychecks to our employees, but we can't. So we're completely like self-funded. Our business doesn't have like investors or whatever, like bank loans yet. No, but hopefully, I mean, who knows, whatever. But what else?
That's it.
Does anybody have any questions?
Hey, so everybody talks about outsourcing and all of that, like, but do you guys have the inverse? Does somebody from Hong Kong be like, hey, I really have this great idea, or would you guys be into making it? Like, do you ever see that? Like, do you see reverse? Like, where you're like, yeah, we can do that for you, like somebody from Europe or...
From Europe, yeah.
Yeah.
And from Australia and
Okay.
Canada and Mexico.
Cool.
New Mexico, sorry. I don't think I've ever got a Mexican inquiry, actually. No, I was just remembering. I feel all the new client inquiries, like, that's my job. Her job is like sourcing, billing, payroll, fixing all the machines. She does like a lot of the
Clicking.
clicking. I said that's it when we got here. I was like, I think that's in your realm. Yeah, that's your realm. And then I talk to the people, and I field the new client inquiry forms, which we have on our website, which is like another thing that is funny about our business because we have this form that we want. I mean, we call it an application, but we don't call it that on our website. But it's like applying to work with us, and we get people writing in, and they don't fill in all the fields, so I don't even respond to them because we don't have time. But yeah, but we've never.
One thing
Work
that we
with
could
them
say
on
about
that,
that though is that
obviously.
we have a lot of customers who have European or mainly Japanese buyers who want their stuff made in
Oh,
the
right.
US. So they could go overseas because they have the numbers for it, but they're especially Japanese buyers want it to be made in the U.S.
It's like cooler. Yeah, it's like part of the brand. It's part of them being like just like me buying something made in the United States or made in Spain, where I know it was like that won't fall apart, like shoes, you know, or something. Like I look for that because I know. I guess they know that their customers in Japan want things made in the United States because it's cool.
Yeah.
So those customers, we have their price point is so high because they know that people will buy it. So we like those people.
And kooky things are really big in Japan, and so we have a lot of the stuff we make for the like we'll make someone's entire line, and then the most crazy clown piece that I would totally wear is the one that is like that's getting made by us and being sold in Japan. They love crazy colors and like it's because they have the best taste. But Polar, this I know. So they sell stuff over there, and they've talked to us about that before. And then we have like some other baby clothes people, and we make a lot of baby clothes. We just didn't bring any because I think we're sick of looking at baby clothes, but we make thousands of items for children, and so yeah.
When you guys are going through the prototyping process with someone and making, and that's later going to be like mass produced, how does that transition feel from like the from just your prototype phase to the mass production, and is it disappointing ever, or
Which part disappointing?
how the mass production comes out, or
one would be those running shorts, where we nailed the prototype and then we tried to do production, and they were really unhappy with their production, but we felt like they approved their sample, if that's what you mean.
I just comparing, like you've created this garment with the client, and you've gotten to a point where it's like, this is awesome, and then having it mass produced and then seeing the results in comparison to like where you guys left it. Or are you involved with the quality control?
We are involved with everything, and then if we do, but like if we,
except if we develop it to a point and then it's getting done like overseas or in LA or something,
I feel like we see it though.
I mean, kind of with this t-shirt company, that's why, because they want like the people that make Ruka shirts to make their shirts in their specs and print the Ruka things on them so that it can just be a Ruka t-shirt in like extra large tall or 3 extra large tall or whatever. So we've been having to work with lots of different factories for them about like these are the specs and this is how it grades, and it's totally not normal. So red flag, this is not normal.
Like highlighted things on the
and then
front
they
page.
do the exact opposite of what we say, and then they do it normally, and then we get them back and we like spec them out for them, and then it's like absolutely
and then
horrible.
Oddball's mad at us, and then we're like, bring it in. And then our pattern maker has to call their pattern maker
and like do a little drawing of like, this is what you did and this is what I wanted you to do, and I thought I told you that, but you don't speak English, so now we like made this color coded drawing of what we want you to do, and like see if that works, because it's crazy. So in that case, we do have problems because we're so attention to detail, and like literally one of us, mainly her, will look over the sewer's shoulder when they're sewing something for someone, which is pretty unheard of, to have like the owner be like, oh, actually she doesn't like when the label's put like that.
It's
she
just
wants it to
good
be
I have a
flipped
good
up
memory.
this way or whatever. So when production is done at our shop, it's generally fine, but when we have to send it to someone else, then there's like that whole.
I think
language
also another
barrier.
point about that is that if we make a sample for someone and we think the sample is really badass and it looks great and we think it has a place in the market and everything, and then they take it and they take some shit picture of it and put it on a crap website and just destroy it, it's like, we don't, well, first of all, because we have a lot of integrity, and also we don't want to just be a manufacturer, we want to be like a place people want to have their stuff made, and that's like that's like the reason we're different than other people. If they don't take what we're making for them with so much love and also with so much thought, like we're making your sample thinking of production, we're constructing it in a way that we think will be faster but look as good and all that. And then they take it and they don't do anything with it. That's why if we see that as a red flag, like from the first time we meet them, like, oh, they don't know about branding, or they don't understand websites, or whatever, they don't get it, then that's when we step in and be like, so we do branding too, and like those are the people that we're like, we need to do all your copywriting, and like it's not us doing it, but it's like we have a team of people, we all work together to like with Britches, we named her company and we did everything. We did her logo, like everything. Does that? I mean, that's another way
Yeah.
that like production can, because then you sew it and it never sells, and then you see it on a crappy sale rack, and you're like, that is so awesome. Why didn't that sell? You just didn't do it right. Yeah. What things?
So who are those people that you're?
Not the negative, the good, the people we've done
The
branding.
branding and the copywriting and all those. Who do you team up with for that?
Well, the guy that did all of our branding, his name's Luke Yablonsky,
Okay.
and he's kind of like a freelance dude, and he's just a friend of mine for a long time, and he did all of Portland Garment Factory and then our house line brand, and like, well, this is a good time to talk about this. This was like a thing that Rose came up with. She was like, we need like a menu that, so when we need something done to a garment, we can point to it and say like, this is the wrong side of the fabric, because you know fabrics have different sides, and then this is how you say it in all the languages we speak in the shop. And then this turned into like a little branding thing for our business. Like Luke, I don't know whose idea it was, but we all came up with this thing about having these totes made that have all of the words we use and kind of like free flow or whatever. And what was I saying? Luke. I got Luke. And then we use this other girl, Laura Shin, and I mean, we need a web person. Crazy that I'm saying that right now because everyone's like, but seriously we do, because our web guy that does our website doesn't, he's too busy and he doesn't call us back ever. And then I have to email him and say like, hey buddy, like, you know, and then I have to send a mean email, and I hate doing that. And then it's always like, just kidding, but I love you, but can you please write me back? And people do that to me though, so I know that he's just busy, and I don't judge him for it, but I do need someone who can like, because what the thing is we'll be thinking about changing something on our website for like 3 months. So by the time, but then we never tell anyone because we're too busy. So by the time we tell someone, we're like ready for it to be done like that weekend, even though they didn't even know about it. We're like, okay, so I'm gonna need you to do this tomorrow.
Like, I've been needing this for 3 months.
Yeah. Like, no, I just told them about it. Anyway, yes, ma'am.
So, this might be a sourcing question, but do you have a partnership with like American or domestic fabric manufacturers? I know there's not that many in the States.
We do, yeah.
So do you have like?
We work with the mill in LA,
Cool.
where all the fabrics are like woven or knitted in LA, and then we have dye houses in LA too. So for our bigger customers who can afford that kind of process, we like to send them that way. We definitely have people who come to us and they're like, my whole life is sustainable, and they like want to like sit next to the person that's dyeing their thing, making sure they're wearing a gas mask, which is like, sometimes people take it a little bit too far, and we can only do so much. But I'm all for like that person wearing a gas mask, of course. But how are you going to make sure that that person is
And
wearing
why?
a
And
gas
it's none of
mask?
your business.
It's
They
crazy.
obviously know they should be wearing one, and if they're
Or
not,
they want to know like, where was this cotton grown that was turned into yarn, that was made into this fabric, that was dyed in LA, that was made into a garment in Portland, Oregon, and we're just kind of like, they're not going to tell you. You're going to make like 500 yards worth of fabric, and they're never going to tell.
It's not
Or
enough.
if you want it to be made in the United States, they're just going to tell you that. To sell it to you, it's 500 yards. That's barely anything, you know. So
and sometimes
or
people
like-
have a wrong idea about what sustainable is in our minds.
yeah. And then, yesterday someone asked me if the wool that I found them was sheared humanely. And I don't know what I'm going to tell them. I haven't written them back yet.
Well, it's like, what do you mean? Do you want us to call the place that sheared the sheep and ask them if they then killed the sheep? Like, that doesn't, I mean, they don't tell you that kind of stuff. They're like,
And the person that made
don't
the
even
fabric
speak English. They don't,
didn't make the
they're not, they
yarn.
don't.
It's crazy. So, but yes, I've been to the mill that makes the fabric in LA, and it's really rad. And I would totally send people.
And we
when
may-
you
yeah.
source though, do you travel the world, or do you try to like go to domestic trade shows?
I mean, we just go to like Las Vegas and
Yeah.
LA.
And all the people, then there's like huge banners that say like Japan and
Yeah.
Egypt, and you can go to those sections where like you can get Egyptian cotton. But it's like when you go to those, it seems like their minimums are so outlandish, unless Rose schmoozes them, which I feel like you have done before. Because I know she does, because we'll go talk to them and they'll say one thing, but then the more we talk to them,
Which is why we source for our clients, because a lot of the people that the resources that I've found, people have told me like, oh, I called the guy at Kreiner and he won't talk to me because I'm too small.
Yeah.
But then I call him and like drop some crazy numbers, and then he'll like totally call me at 7:30 at night on a Tuesday to like talk about when he's coming to Portland. It's crazy. So, but he doesn't have a fax machine or email, and doesn't take credit cards. So you have to literally mail a check.
So you guys end up doing probably a lot of that for your clients, I imagine, because I've heard like with people that's like their number one issue is like sourcing the material.
Yeah, but
And
I think we do a lot of it.
By
And then-
accident
yeah.
sometimes.
Yeah, that's
I'm like, just move over. Let me talk to him. I'm like, listen, buddy.
It's true, they don't, a lot of our customers, I mean, it's not even their own fault. It's just Rose has honed this and she knows, and she has like a huge book with all the different things and the people's names she needs to call, and like, she has it all organized. Because other people, they're like, they don't know what a PO is, and the minute you act like you don't know, then they don't talk to you. Like, these people are business people, and they don't give a crap that you're a designer. They want to sell you fabric. And
Then they finally meet me at shows and they're like, no.
They're like, you're 22.
Like, it's me. Remember, we talked on the phone like 100 times. They're like, oh.
No, they always hug you. They love you. They're like, it's my favorite color.
Yeah, but they're shocked how young we are most of the time.
So based on your artistic background, so how did you learn your like super badass business skills, and like who've been your mentors, and how do you
That's
get
a really good
support here
question.
in-
Yeah. I think there's this pinch of us just hustling because we just have to, because I think we're passionate about it, and we had to make it work or it would just fail, and we were on the line for so many people, and being so like in love with our employees, we feel so deeply committed to them that we don't, I mean, more than I don't want this to fail for myself, it's for them too, which is really like a backwards way of looking at it, because I have 2 kids and I have my own shit, you know? But, so I'd say like a lot of it is us just hustling and learning, reading books, like seriously staying up, figuring it out, asking other business owners. And then also we spoke at we were in the Oregonian or something, and then we got invited to speak at this SCORE event, which I cannot remember what that stands for.
We never remember.
Senior,
So
don't know. There's
You guys know what
retired
SCORE?
business owners, basically.
It's awesome.
And
That's awesome.
yeah,
Great.
so we spoke there, and then a bunch of people in the crowd emailed us.
A standing ovation.
Yeah, it was all old men. That's why. And so you guys are dying, aren't you? So then they like called us and were like, we want to be on your team. And then we had some bumps in the road. You know, we've had funny things happen in our business, and they ended up helping us a lot. And we would go to the SCORE office and meet with them, and it's kind of like at first it's kind of tricky, and you feel like you're full on giving them every access to everything about your business, how you run things. Like, there were only a couple things that we didn't want them to know because they don't understand, because they're it sounds so terrible, but they don't get it. Like, they didn't understand why we called our line House Line. They were like, that's a worse name.
Like house dress.
House dress, that's what it reminds me of. And we're just like, no, because people come in our shop and they say, do you have a house line? So like an in-house line, like that's a thing people say, and we tried to explain it and they didn't get it, and we're just like, shut up. Sometimes you just have to shut them up. Like, you just have to be like, no, that's cool, we got it, we're good on that. But they give you a lot of really good advice, and I think we got our accountant from them, who's a total lifesaver, badass. He like takes us out to lunch, he loves us, he thinks we're his daughters. So we have a lot of, and then also meeting our machine repair guy. I met him like right when I opened, like before I even opened and had a space. I met him and we became really close and bonded, because he used to have a factory. So I think he gave us a lot of like advice in the factory side, and then business side came from, and then my best friend's mom, who ended up moving to China after I started my business, but right before that she was like, get this book and this book and this book, don't ever do this. She like gave me some advice, like, don't ever do this, always be honest, always pay this person. And then, like, those are things you think like, oh yeah, totally, I'll do that, but they're serious. They're the best principles, I think.
What's a don't do this like principle? Like, that's pretty interesting.
Don't throw things away, like receipts, and like if you get audited, they are not fucking around. Like, they're not. You can't be like, oh, I didn't know, but then I realized it, and so now I'm doing really good on that. They're like, I don't fucking care. You owe $7,000 now. Like, so that is scary. Let that scare you, because we have been audited, and not by the federal government, but So, and we totally were good because of Rose. Like, she's awesome, and she like has the most organized workspace, and like keeps everything. And if we, because we have a lot of weird, like we were using contractors for a long time, so they had to give us receipts. And then they tried to say like, oh, these people weren't contractors because they weren't giving you this type of receipt or whatever. And so that is my number one thing. And I don't mind saying that out loud because I think it's like, if someone would have told us that could happen, which everyone was always like, oh, you'll be fine. No one knows.
Because that's how everyone else does it. But we kind of have a public face.
Way more.
And we were probably like on the cover of the Oregonian, and then the employment department was like, oh yeah. They have Vietnamese people working there. And then we got audited completely ever since we even opened, which was before I was even a part of it. Well, no, maybe it's right.
Well, they audited us when we went from sole proprietorship to LLC when you became my business partner.
So anyone you know that's using contractors, tell them that, because there's like rules about
it's a bunch of
so much crazy stuff.
Because they'll say like if they're getting most of their money from you, then they're a contractor. But it's like, well, this economy is really shitty, and I have a good business, so I'm giving them a lot of work. But that doesn't mean they can't go get it from someone else. It's just they're not, because no one else is giving them, or their only skill is sewing, and there's no one else in town, or they don't know how. Like, there's so many reasons why we were their only employer. And
it's crazy. It's
crazy. And most of the people in our industry are immigrants. They all have, we see their documentation, their paperwork, and it's really hard for Rose and I to know if it's real or not. But I think we're sweet, and we are friendly to them, and they end up telling us if they're not legal, and then we end up letting them go, and we have to hug and cry, and then they have to go. So that's happened too. So it's pretty crazy. Our business has all these like really adult things. That's how I'm just like, oh my God, I'm really old to have to deal with this. No, but it just doesn't feel like running my own little shop and doing it however I want anymore,
So how has that changed, like, the overall satisfaction of the lifestyle you chose? Like, are you still having a good time, or you like want to make some changes to get back to making? And
depends on the day.
Yeah.
Today it's great.
Yeah.
I love it.
I think it's
been really fucking hard though.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Having 8 employees is totally nuts.
And that's not a lot to us. And now we feel like we reined it in, like we don't have any outside contractors or it's just us, and it's just our little crew of 8 and plus us, so 10 people total. And that feels more manageable. But I think having Houseline has been a good way for Rose and I to feel that we are creative and we are out like letting ourselves do our thing. But even Houseline is very boxy to me because it's like branded with Portland Garment Factory in a way. Like it's showing our it's trying to show a lot of our talents as a factory in our garments, and so we're not like making the weirdest things or like designing things that we want to wear or like crazy things because we're trying. So it has a lot of parameters, but yeah, I don't know. It's nice to be able to leave when we want if we can make it happen.
It's generally super amazing.
Yeah.
We're like on the phone with the client swinging from a 60-foot swing, and like you're
40, but that's okay.
40?
The ceilings are 40. It's okay. I just don't want anybody to come in and be like, these are not 60.
These are only 40. Honest, always honest. Doesn't ever be exaggerated. And then like Britt's kids come all the time, and like every sewer will give them like the most huge hug and gum every day, even though Britt tells them not to.
Chocolate, and they give my kids candy, and I've literally got up in their face and been like, I am not kidding. Do not give my kids sugar. I'm not kidding. Like, do you understand that? No, do not. And they think it's funny, and they do it anyway. And then they're like, shh, don't tell your mom, like that kind of thing. And I'm just like, ah. Because my daughter throws the biggest fit when I try to take it away from her, and I don't even care now. But we lease out the back of our shop to an artist guy who does like commercial set design and stuff, and so he does some woodworking, but he has really high walls, so it doesn't really get in our, on our stuff. And that's really cool to have someone else doing some creative stuff, and he like brings cool people in, and that's fun. So it's a fun shop. It's really, yeah.
How much of the other languages have you learned?
I am doing Rosetta Stone for Vietnamese. It's fucking hard.
Today we were saying "Hen Duck Lai Sao," and like "Have a nice day," and but she knows
crazy.
A little bit more than me.
I barely got through any of it so far, but they say I have a really good accent.
Yeah.
So that's awesome. And then we speak a little bit of Spanish. Our cutters speak Spanish. and we don't speak any Chinese. Poor
But all
Susie.
Well, today I said, bye, Susie, in English, sorry. And she's like, tomorrow I teach you Chinese. But
She
doesn't-
speaks really good
She
English.
doesn't speak, she doesn't speak Chinese very often, ever, to us. She tries to teach us things, but she wants to learn Vietnamese. So she
She
would rather.
does?
Well, that's what she always says. I learned Vietnamese and we all speak Vietnamese.
Because she feels left out.
I think she feels left out because they sing in Vietnamese while they're sewing, and
She just talks on her Bluetooth so that she has someone to talk to.
she talks on her Bluetooth all day long while she's sewing. And I really want to tell her to stop, but it's just a
Everyone
perk
else
of the
is
job.
talking.
Not as much as her. Because she's the sassiest. Whatever. Are you guys too hot? Do you want to go? It's pretty hot in here. Maybe I'm just hot from sitting here. Like, oh.
Does anyone have any other questions?
Do you approach creating your house line any differently than you approach creating something for a client?
More rushed. Just sad. We're just like, yeah, totally do that.
No,
and
that's
totally
because we're badasses and we just
That's
are,
true.
we don't have anybody to please except for
Yeah.
ourselves. But I mean, a little bit. I
I
feel
like
like
yin and yang up here. We're always like this good cop, bad cop to each other.
a little bit rushed. But
Yeah.
I think we don't need to hem and haw about things because we're sure of things, because we're confident, because we know
Yeah.
what we're doing. And the people that take forever are just going like, I don't know. I mean, they're like just. It's like if you stare at yourself in the mirror. This is what I think. It's like if you stare at yourself in the mirror and you look like at the weirdest part of your face and then you're like, what? That's weird. That looks really weird. It's like doing that to a garment all day long. It's like you're staring with the way you're looking at it is making it look worse. It's like if you stared at this and you just looked right there and you were like, I don't know, is that too long? I don't know. It's like that. That's what they do.
We're doing that in the shop yesterday with those T-shirts. God damn.
Oh, I wasn't in that one, but I'm talking about like Hello Buddha or something.
Yeah.
Like they just stare at the weirdest thing for too long. I'm just like, you guys look at the whole thing. Like a customer's never going to be like doing that.
Yeah.
Like they don't.
Like, but one of the things that we get to do that a lot of our customers don't get to do is really amazing construction. So we're really into like things that are bound and French seams and like hand numbering everything because we're really into showing that matters.
Yeah, and yeah.
Also we own the factory so we can a little bit, like we have a little leeway of that. But like we want everything to look perfect on the inside, which some people can't afford to do because they want this like whatever they're making to sell for like $29.
Well, then we don't even work with them. I mean, some people they come to us and they want to make a pair of men's pants and they want them to sell for $89. And we're just like, and because then that's like, then you wholesale would be half of that, and then what you'd want your production price with materials included would be about a third, which would be like $8 or like, it's just like not realistic at all. And
So everything we do has like French seams and bound pocket bags, and like it's kind of excessive, but we're really into it. And like these are like our little tags that we print, and they're all, if something's limited edition, it's like hand numbered. And
this is a sample, so it doesn't have a hand number, but yeah.
And we like to use expensive buttons and like make things out of silk and wool that have to be dry cleaned. Like we're kind of doing all of the things that we tell our customers not to do because we think that we have a market for it. But we kind of say like, don't, that's gonna have to be dry cleaned, so it's gonna scare away certain customers or buyers.
Well, because a lot of these women's wear designers that we're working with, they want to sell and compete with, and then they'll bring, like we say, like bring us 5 or show us 5 websites of people that you think will be in the same store as you, and your stuff will be hanging next to it. And they're like, oh, I never thought of that. It's like, well, that's super important because how much are they charging? We have to work backwards here, and they, it's a lot of it's not made in the United States at all, so it's a different price point. And you guys probably know this, like some things that aren't made in the United States are still really expensive, and that's something like the brand recognition or something. So. I don't really know what to say about that, but I think that honest clothing is like, I think if we had more of a platform to talk about the industry and just garments in general, not just the making of them, would be to say, buy less, own more awesome things. Own awesome things. Don't buy so many not awesome things. And I wish people like my mom understood that. And even though I own, or like our friends, like just yesterday saying, like, well, I wear a uniform and I get all of my clothes of my uniform. She meant like, she just likes to wear the same t-shirts type shape all the time, so she just goes to Forever 21 and
Like
and H&M and buys like $6 t-shirts, and then that's all she lives in. She's like saying that to our face, and we're like, that's fucked up. Like, why don't you just buy like 4 t-shirts that are really quality and will last a long time, and they're more expensive, but they're better and look cooler, and I don't know, and everyone else isn't wearing them, and there's so many good reasons to buy things that are better. It's like buying good shoes, you know, you're a girl. You know, like you buy a really good pair of boots, but then you can wear them for a long time. Same idea.
So how much would something like that dress cost?
This dress is expensive, I think, for what it is, but that's just because we're poor, so we're like, God, we could never afford these clothes. I don't know, it's like $200 or $234 or something like that.
Yeah.
That's how much it retails for.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's not crazy, but that's like, you know, most girls would
Is
have
that
to
you selling in
love
your
that
store, or
dress.
is that you wholesaling it?
Well, we wholesale it. We
That's
don't,
what
or when we sell
But
on
that's
our
the
website.
retail price.
That's
Okay,
the retail price, yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
alright.
That's the whole shebang.
Do you guys make your own tags, or are you outsourcing that?
We have to outsource that because this is a specific, totally different factory, like a tag factory. So, yeah, and we have these made by a company that's like in the United States, but they're probably not made. I don't know.
They are. That's from LA.
They're made there though. Sometimes they're like companies here, but then you get them really quickly and you're like, these are made in China. But I never knew. But and then we do a lot. We try to talk people into a lot of that like back neck printing, and because that's like a less expensive way to print. But then you have to divvy up your production by size and make sure that they put this S in the small, and that's like a really risky thing. We've had customers that we make their entire production and they take it to have it screened, and they'll like put the girl, because it's like a baby clothes company, they'll put the girl thing on the boy shirts and the boy thing on the girl shirts, and the customer's like crying. That happens sometimes. A lot. Printing is crazy.
Yes.
But that's that.
Alright, guys.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming.
All right. Well, yeah. Thanks again to Brett and Rosemary. That was awesome, and Portland Garment Factory for coming down. If you guys aren't too hot in here, you could hang out for a little bit. People could check out the garments and stuff. We return on October 2nd with Debbie Ever. Her talk is called Surviving Running a Small Business and You. Debbie Ever has been producing guitar pedals since 2003 and has had the pleasure to provide fuzz for many great artists including Nine Inch Nails, Depeche Mode, ZZ Top, Nels Cline, Wilco, The Black Keys, PlayStation Music Group at Sony, and My Bloody Valentine, just to name a few. After nearly a decade in the guitar gear industry, she is now taking the first baby steps towards transitioning into the realm of board and video game development. Debbie Ever will be doing what she does best. After half a decade of rambling into a webcam for all of dozens of people to see on YouTube, you'll be able to experience her insights about the world, the guitar pedal biz, creativity, and philosophy, live and in person. All right, thanks everyone for coming. Thank you guys so much.